Okay. Well, very good morning, guys. So last day, we have just been discussing about how to manage the data in a data source, right? Who's going there? Sorry. Okay. What's it in .NET? If you want to manage the data as data source, we have three options available. What are three options? ADO.NET, LinkUI, and T framework. And actually, I started discussion with Link. What is Link? This is specially designed identical to actually it came in .NET 3.5. When Microsoft launched .NET 3.5, we have Link actually in the market. .NET 3.5 identical to SQL, which we can using which we can interact with a wide variety of data sources. Like you can interact with arrays, collections, XML, and relational databases. And the second important point is Link is actually divided into three parts. What are three parts? Link to objects, link to XML, link to databases. And you guys, you already learned about link to objects. In your C# classes, you already learned about link to objects. The next thing is link to XML and link to databases. What is link to XML? Also called as XLink. And this allows us to perform querying on XML data. First one, querying on arrays and collections. But the third one, link to databases. And this allows us to perform CRUD operations, not querying, guys. It allows us to perform CRUD. It supports all the four CRUD operations: inserting, updating, deleting, everything. And under this, again, we have two separate parts. Again, link to SQL, link to entries. And when you talk about link to SQL, this link to SQL is designed to work with SQL Server database. It is actually designed to work with the SQL Server database. And link to entries is designed to work with any relational database, Oracle, SQL Server, any database you can use. But link to SQL can be used only on SQL Server. And in the process, we have first started talking on link to SQL. Yeah. What I said, this is specially designed for communication with SQL Server database and perform CRUD operations. So it means create, read, update, and delete. Where create stands for insert, update is update only, delete is delete only, read is select. Okay. And before link, remember guys, before link, what we used to do, we used to use ADO.NET and interact with the databases. We used to use ADO.NET and interact with the databases. And I was telling you the difference of using ADO.NET and link. In ADO.NET, how did we talk with the SQL Server database? Using SQL language. Select statements, insert statement, update and delete. Some of you are parallelly attending for SQL Server, ADO.NET classes. And you remember already some of you completed your ADO.NET. And recollect yourself. In ADO.NET, we completed a select statement, insert statement, update statement, delete statement in your application. And ADO.NET will use these statements and talk to SQL Server. But when you come to link to SQL, we don't use SQL at all. What we use, and with the help of the link, we will talk with SQL Server. What the differences is at your first time. If I write SQL, that is, write a mistake in the SQL statement, compile your program, no error will come. Run your program, in the runtime, you get an error. And errors in the runtime are dangerous. Why? Abnormal termination. Errors in the runtime are dangerous because they will cause you abnormal termination. So because of the abnormal termination, runtime errors are very dangerous. We know that. Yes or not? So this is going to cause you the runtime error. Syntax checking will be happening. But when you come here to the compile time syntax checking only, if any mistake, compile time only will tell you this is wrong. Second, not types. Recollect your ADO.NET, guys. We get all the values from the database as object only. Yes or not? Everything comes as object. See, you are working with employee table. Employee number comes as object. Name comes as object. Job comes as object. Salary comes as object. Everything here. Photograph comes as an object. Status comes. Everything will come as object only. And when you're sending also, we are going to send all the values in the form of object. So it requires boxing and unboxing. But when you come to link, guys, it is a type safe code. You will receive employee number as integer. You will receive name as string. You will receive salary as a decimal. You will receive photo as a binary. All the things will come back for you in the original type, but not as object. So type safe programming. Third, no intelligence in debugging supports. No intelligence support, no debugging support. These two are not allowed, not possible. In a double quote, if you write a select statement or insert statement, intelligence doesn't work to you. But already you learned in your link to objects classes, intelligence is supported. And this is a client-side code. So debugging is also supported. And the fifth one, the main thing. There your code is a combination of relational and object-oriented. When you're talking with databases, you're required to follow relational standards. When you're talking to the database, you're required to follow the relational standards. And in your application, you're required to follow the object-oriented standards. But when you come to link it to SQL, it is pure object-oriented programming. There is no combination of relational stuff at all. Everything is object-oriented. And I clarified you in the last class. What is it? Pure object-oriented in the sense, I said you one important thing. What is it? From now, we will not work with tables, but we'll work with classes. We will not work with columns, we'll work with properties. We'll not work with records, we'll work with instances. And we'll not work with stored procedures, we'll work with methods. So these are the things we have. Classes, properties, instances, methods in place of tables, columns, records, and stored procedures. Everything is replaced with object-oriented stuff now. Are you clear? And we analyzed about this particular thing in the last class. Once again, we learned about this concept earlier. If you want to build an application, they're mainly involved in 4 steps. What is the first step? Identify the entities associated with the application. Second step, identify the attributes of each entity. Third step, design the database based on the below guidelines. Create the table representing entities. Make the attributes of entities as columns of tables. Every record should be unique representation for the entity. Next. You'll be using some programming language like Java, C# or Python. And in this, what you need to do? You need to define the classes representing the entities. You need to define the properties representing the attributes. Where each instance should be a unique. One day you dealt with a customer entity. Remember, we created 6 instances. The 6 instances represent 1 customer or 6 customers. 6 customer, and under the customer class, we defined all the properties of the customer. No, sorry, all the attributes of the customer in the form of properties: ID, name, balance, account type, city, photograph, status. Like this, we just taken some 7 different properties in the class. And the 7 properties represents what? 7 attributes. The 7 properties represents the 7 attributes now. Okay. The seven properties of that class represents the seven attributes. So these are the fundamentals to work with link. These are the fundamentals to work with link. Guys, let us do all these things. I want to develop an application for a school now. My entity is student. My entity is student. So what should I do? I identify my entity and let us just pick up some attributes of the student also. What is it? ID, name, class, fees, photo, status. I want to pick six columns here, six attributes now. What are the six? ID, name, class, fees, photo, and status. Some six attributes I just identified. Okay, now step one, step two completed now. What is step three? Create a table first. Create a table now. Let's create a table in the database. Okay, come on, let's go to SQL Server. Connecting to SQL Server. Let's create one database. You know, creating a database now. How do you create a database in SQL Server? Right click, new database. Right click and say new database. I want to create a database called as MVCDB. That's the database I'm creating, MVCDB. Click on the OK button. Database created. Right now, no tables. And I want to create a table representing the student. I want to create a table representing the student with six columns in the table. Correct? Okay. We'll create a table. Okay. New query. MVCDB. Check. First column. SID. Integer. Primary key column. Second column. Name. Varchar. Third column. Class. Integer. Fourth column. Fees. Money. Fifth column. Photo. Varchar. Sixth column. Status. Bit. Not null. With a default value 1. And you'll be wondering, what is that? Sir, in C sharp, you're taken binary, but here you are using varchar. Web is different, desktop is different. Web applications are different and desktop applications are different. I'll tell you. Okay, when I'm just storing the values, I'll tell you why I used varchar here without using a binary. Okay, so we'll talk about that particular thing, but I have a table with 6 columns. Come on, execute. Table ready. Are you clear? Okay, now what is my next step? The user has to manage the data in the student table now. I need an application. I need an application. Guys, come on. You learned all these things in the C sharp, but there I only said you as a case study. Now I'm showing the practical watch. All things we are putting a live implementation now. Are you getting me? So we identified our entity, student. We identified the attributes, 6 attributes. Next, we created a database and a table with all the 6 attributes as columns. Okay, next we need to develop a application by using a language of your choice. And our choice is C sharp and our application is a web application. So let's go with an MVC application now. Come on, let's create an application, guys. Create a new project. ASP.NET web application. Okay. Project name, I just given it as MVC with link. MVC with link 1. the folder, solution name. Let's choose MVC project from now onwards. But we'll directly go with MVC now. We have learned all the things, all the stuff. So directly I'm going with a MVC project. Click on create. Yeah, just guys, I just directly chosen MVC template. I directly chosen the MVC project template, guys. Okay. Click create. So we know that by default Bootstrap will come, by default jQuery will come, by default one controller called a home controller will come with some default pages, all things we learned. We'll get a route config, we get a bundle config, we get a filter config also. We talk on filters. Filters is the next topic. After database programming, we'll talk on filters. Okay, filter config, all the things will come for us. Okay, well, now what do you want to do? You want to design one UI, and this UI should be provided for the user to interact with the data source to perform all the thread. Okay, now, so in this process, what you require to do, you need to define a class representing the entity. You need to define a class representing the entity, where in the models folder, define a class now with the 6 properties now. You know how to define a class now? Sir, I know how to define a class, I'll define it, not an issue. But sir, tomorrow, if my table has 100 columns, you want me to write a class with 100 properties now? It's going to be a lengthy code for me now. My database has 100 tables. Every table has 100, 150 columns in it. And you're asking me to write all this particular code. Are you getting me or not? Are you clear? Well, guys, don't worry. You don't require to write any code at all. It is all auto generation. It is all auto generation. Here, we need to understand a concept. What is the concept? You know, ORM. Object Relational Mapping. What is this, sir? It is a process. It is a process of converting. It is a process of converting relational objects into object-oriented types. In our language, we call types. Class is a type now. Okay. What is it? It's a process of converting relational objects into object-oriented types. And to perform this, we are provided with tools called ORM tools. ORM tools. What you know? Object Relational Mapper tools. They're mapping here mapper. Concept is object relational mapping. And to do that, we have mapper tools now. We have the mapper tools. Object relational mapper tools are available to us. And .NET provides you 2 tools for us. We are provided with 2 ORM tools in .NET. Those are, first one, OR Designer, and second one, ADM. OR stands for Entity Data Model. These are the 2 tools what we have. One is a OR Designer, second one is ADM. Guys, listen, we use this tool in Are you clear? We use the OR Designer in link to SQL, and we use ADM in link to entities. So remember, guys, we are going to study working with both the tools. Working with OR Designer also, working with ADM. What are we learning now? Into SQL or into entities? Link to SQL. So what is the tool I should use now? What Design. This What Designer will do all the job to you. It will do all the work for us. Okay, what will it do? I'll show you. Check it out. What about the other people? Is the voice breaking? Sai, the problem is from your side. Disconnect and connect. Other people don't have any issues. Just disconnect and connect. Disconnect and connect again. Yeah. So these are the two tools we have. And what are we learning now is working with What Design. What are we learning now is working with What Designer. How to work with the What Designer. Okay, observe it carefully. And here, all of you concentrate. There is no coding. All auto generation only. You need to understand the concept and the process carefully. See, writing code is easy. We can understand what you're writing. But here the headache is not writing the code. Someone writes the code, you need to understand the code now. Are you clear? Someone is writing the code and you need to follow the code and develop your application. That's what I'm telling you. Concentrate. It's all auto generation mechanism. Okay? Follow me. First, what should I do? I need to add this What Designer in the project. I need to add the What Designer in the project. Okay. Let us go and add it in the models folder. Why? Database coding is all related to database now. And everything related to database will be in the models. So go to the models folder, right click, add new item. Yeah, you know the add new item window now. In the add new item window, on the left hand side, select data. Select data. You know the code, you'll get all the code items. Now select data, you'll get the data items. In this, you'll be finding an item called as link to SQL classes. This is the What Designer. Are you guys clear? Sir, I did not find this link to SQL, sir. What should I do? I did not find this. If you did not find this, guys, go to Tools menu, get Tools and Features, get Tools and Features, because already on the installation time, I said you how to install this. In the A1 of installation, I already said you how to install this here. If you did not install, this is what you do. Go to individual components and scroll down. You will be finding code tools. In the code tools, you'll find link to SQL tools. You need to select this checkbox. If you did not find it there, what is the meaning? You did not install it. Go there, check it up, install it. Are you clear? And restart your PC again. Restart your PC to be configured. Okay. Well, it already installed for me. So add a new item, data, link to SQL classes. For that, link to SQL classes map it to relational objects. It will show you something. It will add you an item with an extension .ddml, stands for database markup language. Database markup language. Give any name to this file, any name you like. But the suggestion is always use your database name. You can give any name here, no problem. But the suggestion is always use your database name. That's it. Suggestion, that's all. Okay. What's the database name? MVCDB. MVCDB.dbm. Click on the add button. Once you guys click on the add button in the models folder, it will be generating some few things to you. Wait. Added you. MVCDB.dbml is added in the models folder. You noticed it? What next I'll tell you. Not only this one here, I forgot to show you first. It will add you a reference to this particular assembly also. All of you, before you add What Designer, verify once, you will not find this assembly by default. Are you clearer or not? So I just forgot to show you, before adding the project, sorry, before adding the What Designer, check the references. Where to check? Under the project, you'll find references. Expand it and see. You will not find system.data.link. This action will add you a system.data.link assembly reference to you automatically. That's what I said you. Everything is implicit here. Do one thing. Open our yesterday's project once. Annotations now. Go to Solution Explorer. Go to References. Check. Check it out. You don't have system.data.link reference now. And that reference is added when I add the OAuth Designer. OAuth Designer has added me that reference. What is that? System.data.link. That reference is automatically added. Okay now? And it will add you one window on screen now with the two panels in it. We call this like a split container. We call it as a split container. What is it? A container with the two tabs here. You can adjust the sizes of them in the runtime actually. It added you this. Okay, it will have a splitter here. You can increase or decrease the size of the splitter. The splitter will be added to you automatically. So this is what it adds to you. What should I do now? I tell you. Are you clear till now? What happened now? I added a OAuth Designer and it added me a reference to system.data.link. Okay now? And guys, look here. If you go to the models folder, this is your file, and here you'll find mvcdb.designer.cs. Remember the word designer? Designer means designer files are used for code auto generation, learned in Windows programming. Designer.cs files are used for code auto generation. And these files cannot be modified by human. You should not touch them at all. These are all for code auto generation. All the auto-generated code will be present for you under that file. And if you go there, under this you'll find one class now. What is the class? MVCDB data context. Open the file and see. When you expand the file, you will see the class names there. See MVCDB data context. Check everyone. That is a class. Okay. And this class inherits from data context. Which namespace? For that reason, only it added reference of system.data.link now and consuming this class. Okay. Well, listen. What happens when OAuth Designer is added to the project? Okay, first it will add reference to system.data.link assembly. Already shown you. Next, under the .dbml file, under the .dbml item, we will find designer.cs file, and under this file we will find a class called data context prefixed with the name of .dbml. What is the name of your .dbml? MVCDB now. So that's why your class name is MVCDB data context. If you prefix your DBML file name is a test, then class name is testDB context. Are you clear? Okay, .dbml. So in our case, the class name is MVCDB data context, because our .dvml file name is mvcdb.dbml. Clear with the second point, all of you? Tell me clearly. Understood? What is the use of the class? I did not tell you. What happened? I said you, that's all. What is the need of the class? I'll tell you. We'll talk about it. Don't bother about it. So just trying to tell you what is happening automatically for you. Okay. Now you have a doubt. Sir, what is this MVCDB data context class? MVCDB data context class inherits from a predefined class. What is it? Data context of system.data.link namespace. Okay. Next. Data context class is same as connection class in our ADO.NET. And once we create the instance of this class, it will establish a connection to the database. That is the use of the class now. So in ADO.NET, what is the first step you do? You will create a connection class object so that a connection can be established with the database now. Now, no more connection. You should create the instance of your MVCDB data context class now. And that MVCDB data context class will establish a connection with MVCDB database. Point clearer or not? Are you clear? So once you create the instance of the class, it is going to establish a connection to the database for us. That will help you in establishing the connection. And now you'll have a doubt. Sir, what about the connection string? To create a connection, we need a connection string. You already learned in ADO.NET for creating a connection string is required. Yeah, I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about the thing also. Any doubts till now? Understood? What happened? A class is defined. What is the name? MVCDB data context. And this class is same as connection in our ADO.NET. So creating the instance of this class will establish a connection with the database. Right now, guys, in this class, check it out. There are 4 constructors. Notice it. Other than that, nothing is there here. The class has 4 constructors there, that's all. And all the 4 are parameterized. All the 4 are parameterized. MVCDB data context. All 4 are parameterized now. Are you getting me or not? So we have all 4 parameterized. Okay, because these 4 are parameterized, when you're creating the instance, you require to pass some information to them. I tell you what information, but these are 4 parameterized constructors what are defined. Okay, so what is missing for us? Connection string, sir. We are missing with the connection string. We did not understand. You're telling me we create an instance, but what about the connection string now? Are you getting me? Well, connection string is missing. That is the important thing what we just require to understand. Okay, and second thing is, after connecting which table to get the data? Student table. Which table? Student table. Array, not only student table, we are going forward. We may create a teacher table there. We may create a book table there. We may create an exam table, staff table. Different tables I'll create you on the database now. Today we create it with a student. We need to get the data. Okay. First thing what is confusing is connection string is confusing. We need a connection string. Okay, all of you, tell me this one. Connection string. Generally, we require to write this connection string whenever we establish a connection with the database. Am I right? Yes or not? All the people who are freshly learning ADO.NET, recollect, we created 2 forms yesterday and today. Who are learning ADO.NET, I'm telling you, who completed ADO.NET knows this, but who are learning, we created 2 forms. In the 2 forms, yesterday once we written on the connection string, today once we written on the connection string. Alright, today 2 times we written on the connection string. 3 forms we created totally, today 2 times we written on the connection string, correct? Huh? Going forward, every time you require to write your connection string now. Suppose your project has 10 forms, 10 times you require to write the connection string, 50 forms. You written the connection string here. After writing the connection string, password is modified. Starts your hell now. What is it? You are required to go to every form and modify the connection string now. You forget somewhere. So that is why connection strings should be present in the config files. You should not write connection strings directly in the application. Where you required to write config files. Connection string should be in the config file. Advantage, tomorrow you can easily modify. Config file means one value, one place only. Tomorrow if I want to modify, I don't require to modify the CS files now. Where to modify? If I modify the config, that will affect you the whole application now. So don't write connection strings in the CS code. Connection strings should be present in the config. How to write the connection string in the config? Okay, watch guys. Go to web.config. Go to web.config. And in the web.config, you'll be finding different sections here. This one is app settings, system.web, runtime. Like this, you'll find some different sections. Here, write down what connection strings and write down add name is equals to some name for your connection string, any name you like, key name, something like a constr. Value is, connection string is equals to, write the name of the connection string, write your connection string, data source equals to, what is that? Server. Database is equals to MVCDB. User ID is equals to SA. Password is equals to 123. This is your connection string in the config file now. One more attribute here, provider name is equals to system.data.sql client. What I want to use is SQL client. See, earlier, you guys used to write this connection string in your CS code. Where you write the connection string? CS code. Problem of writing the CS code is, tomorrow it's 50 forms and 50 CS files. 50 times you need to write the connection string. Writing is not the challenge, I will write there. But tomorrow, suddenly, for some reason, password changed. You're required to edit the 50 files. The company has a policy. What is the policy now? Every day morning, password will change. Every day morning, you're required to edit the 50 files now. Ready? You'll forget somewhere, you'll face a problem again now. So that's why there should be only one single location, the connection string should be present. What is that location? Config. How do you write? Connection strings, add some name for reading the value. Next, provider is equals to, this is how you should read. Now you have a name here now. What is the name? Now this name, pass it as a parameter to the data context class. See the first constructor, what is it taking? Pass that name here and it will read that value and establish a connection for you. Got it? Yes or not? What did I say? You need to create the instance of this class now. But what is your confusion? Sir, where is the connection string now? So what I'm telling is, store the connection string in the config file. And you have a name there now. Bring that and give the name here. Once you give the name here, it is going to read that connection string and connect it to the database. Are you guys clearer or not? Understood my point? Okay, remember this one. Let me go to web.config and I'm deleting the connection string. Sir, why are you deleting? I tell you, I did not write the connection string here. Just the outer right I shown you. I did not write anything. I deleted off. There is no connection string in the config file. You can see I'm saving this. There is no connection string in the config file now. Are you clear? Okay. Till now, did you write any code? Even the connection string also deleted. Even the connection string also I deleted. I did not write any code. Okay. Well, guys, listen. What next? So what happened till now? One reference added, one class is defined. And this class has 4 constructors. All 4 are parameterized constructors. Okay. What next? The second thing what you're required to do now is you want to work with some tables now. Going forward, you might be working with some procedures. You want to work with some tables. You want to work with some procedures. You want to work with all these things now. Okay. To work with all these particular things, what you're required to do now is In the view menu, you will find a window called as Server Explorer. Can you see that? Add the Server Explorer. You will see this in the right side, sorry, left-hand side. You'll find this in the left-hand side, Server Explorer. Okay, this is your Server Explorer. Just a minute. Okay, this is your Server Explorer. And what will you do now? Configure your database here now. Configure your database. The Server Explorer works like Object Explorer in SQL Server. Object Explorer in SQL Server. This is also same now. But Object Explorer in SQL Server is configured only with SQL Server. But Server Explorer can be configured with different databases. I can configure with Oracle here. I can configure with SQL Server here. I can configure with MySQL here, any database. So let us configure with our SQL Server MVCDB database. How to do? Right click, add connection. A window will open for you asking you to choose the data source. What is the data source? See guys, data source, not database. Asking you to choose the data source. If your data source is not this, click on the change and you can choose your data source, Oracle or whatever it is. Okay. Well, right now it is SQL Server only. Now server name. What's the server name? Server. Choose your authentication. I want to use. Enter your user ID. Enter your password. And select the option, save my password. Is a newly added. Is to a newly added here. Shall we? Okay, we'll see. What is it? I am newly added there. I did not check it out earlier. First time I'm seeing this. It's encrypted trust server certificate. Okay, let us see if it works. Okay, otherwise we'll check. Now you choose your database. What's your database? Newly added this one. The certificate chain was issued. I need to select this checkbox, I think. Guys, I need to select this particular checkbox. Earlier we don't have. This is newly added right now. Select the checkbox trust server certificate. And if all the details are correct, yes, loads your database. What is that? Come below. Click on test button once. Test connection succeeded. Okay, what is that? Trust server certificate. I'll update in the notes once. Wait a minute. Add connection, server name, connect to database, authentication mode. Provide the credentials. Yeah, connect to the database. Before connect to the database only, provide the credentials. And check the check boxes. What are those? Trust server certificate. Server password is old one only. If you don't select it, every time it will ask you for password, nothing. But newly we got trust server certificate. Second one is not mandatory. That's why I'm ignoring it. Check the checkbox. Which one? Trust server certificate, comma, and under connected to database option, choose the database. Choose your database here. Okay, click on the OK button. Guys, your database came here. And see, guys, this is like your Object Explorer. See now. The Object Explorer will show you all databases, but here I can configure the database I want. And Object Explorer will show you only SQL Server, but here I can configure with Oracle also. And I change database, I show you Oracle option also. You select Oracle, Oracle will come now. Okay, now your database is here now. Okay, now. Fine, guys. Now look what the next step. Listen, this is your DBML file now, and this is your table. More tables will add going forward. Whatever tables you want to work with, drag and drop all those tables on the left-hand side panel of the Word Designer. I said it's a split container with panels. Drag and drop the tables on the left-hand side panel. No, sir, I want to work with procedures. Drag and drop on the right-hand side panel, where your tables will be converted into classes and your procedures will be converted into methods automatically without writing code. That is the specialty. Are you clear? Model classes you don't require to write from now onwards. Earlier, till yesterday, you written your own model classes, correct now? From now, we are not going to write them. Who will do that? Word Designer will generate them. Understood or not? Come on, which table? Student. Drag it and leave it on the left-hand side panel, and you will see a visual representation of the table. Yes side is a primary key. Check. Are you clear? Well, what happens when we drag and drop the first object on Word Design? Guys, one thing I want to clarify. First object I said, maybe you drag and drop the table or you drag and drop a stored procedure tomorrow. Anything you can drag and drop. So the question is, what happens when we drag and drop the first object, table or procedure on Word Design? Okay, listen carefully. What happens? It will write this is why I deleted. Array, this is why I deleted. Yeah, it'll write for you now. Oh, did it write the connection string? Yes, it is. Open your Solution Explorer, go to web.config and check it out. You have a connection string now. What did the key name see? And it was writing data source, initial catalog, database, initial catalog string. I give you some additional attributes here, ignore them. Persistent security info, your ready password, first server certificate. Okay, it writes some attributes to you. Like this, it is writing the connection string for us. And what is the key name? Provider name. First, I showed you writing manually. Delete it now. Why? It will generate for me. Why should I write? Are you getting me? Second, okay, just a minute, guys. Yeah, these are this is what happens, guys. What is it when we drag and drop the first object? What is it? Table or stored procedure on Word Designer. The below action gets performed. Actually, there is a small change, guys. What it is, if you are working with the latest studio, this is the only thing that happens. If you are working with the old version of the studio, all of you, I hope you are working with the latest only. But in any case, if at all you work with the old version of the studio, one more thing happens. What is it, Fine, say, it's a old version, guys. Latest version, this is missing. In the latest version, second action won't be done. Check it out. We have only the same 4 constructors. We have the same old 4 constructors. But why I'm telling you this is, again, without confusion. Suppose tomorrow in your company, you're using old Visual Studio 2017 now. And again, you see the constructor will be confused. That is why I'm warning you. Just check what are you using. You are using latest, then you won't find default constructor. If you are using old, then you'll find default constructor. You'll find a default constructor. Are you getting me? So now the second action is not there for us because we are using the latest version. Okay. And then this happens when we drag and drop the array. First object can be table. First object can be array. We drag and drop the table here. In the next example, I will drag and drop stored procedure first, not a table. Did you catch my point or not? What I'm going to use? Stored procedure. That's it. Might be a table, might be a stored procedure. Whatever you drag, this happens. Clear? Next question. What happens when we drag and drop a table on the OR designer? What is this again, sir? Array. This happens for every table. So you drag one table. Tomorrow another table. Day after tomorrow another table. For every table, this will happen now. What happens when we drag and drop a table on the OR designer? For every table you drag and drop on the OR designer, the following or the below actions gets performed. Or the following actions gets performed. Oh, sorry. The following actions gets performed. First one, look guys, define say model class representing the entity. What is the table you drag and drop it? So student model class is defined for you already now. Sir, don't you require to write this class anymore? No need. Check it out. Check it out. Go to the models folder. Where is it, sir? Auto generation is always done in the designer file only. Expand. Earlier you saw one class called MVC context now. Now you have two classes. Watch. Array, that is your model class here. No need to write the class again now. You have 100 fields now. 100 properties will come up now. Yesterday you written this class manually, but today auto generated. It is auto generated. Okay, so you can see now. Properties. Every property represents a field now. Yes, ID. Which type? Name. Class. Watch carefully. Non-optional. Nullable. Nullable. Non-optional. Nullable. Why? Yeah. Class is integer. Integer is nullable. And come to the first one. First one is also integer only in a primary key. See, it defines very intelligently. Primary key. Table doesn't accept a null value. Now my application also doesn't accept a null value. Integer. Table accepts. Sorry, class. Integer. Table accepts a null value. Application also should accept now. Please. Money here. See, the data type matching also. Money there. Decimal here. And there we did not have a not now. So, decimal question mark. Photo. Varchar string. Name. Varchar string. Status. Bit. Boolean. Sir, null is not coming. No. Why? We had a not null constraint on it. Remember, on ID, we have a primary key. On status, we have a not null. See that if you write this class, compulsory you will make mistakes now. Make mistakes, you will ignore what is the database accepting, and irrespective, you may use null, you may not use null. All these headaches will be there now. That is why let it define the class. It will define everything based on the database to you. Null accepted database, application also will accept. Null not accepted by database, application also will not accept. That it intelligently defines you the class to you. That's a pattern now. Again, we write, we make mistakes. Again, going forward, getting errors, fixing them. All this headache is not there now. Am I clear, all of you? So for every table you drag and drop, a new class comes now. You drag and drop 10 tables, 10 classes are defined. Now, is a class ready for your table now? Tell me, a class is ready for your table now. Okay now? Next. Defines properties under the class, under the class where each property represents each column of the table. Yeah, 6 columns of the table. Check it out. The 6 properties now. All the 6 properties now. Are you clear? And do you remember this one when we learned properties in C Sharp? I taught you. Properties can have associated fields. A field name and property name will be same. To discriminate, field name will be prefixed with underscore. I showed you all the conventions to be followed now. It's not my conventions here. These are industry standards. Microsoft is following, see, even Microsoft following all the conventions now. See, blue color fields. All fields are declared with underscore now. Are you clear? And all these are private. All these are private. And scrolling down, these are your properties. All are defined matching to the fields. Matching to the fields here. Is it clear, everyone? Okay now? So this is the second step. Class name will be same as table name. Property name will be same as field names. Column names. Same names only. No confusion there. Third one. Under data context class, it will define a property of type collection or of type table which will work as a table for you, to perform you need to do insert, update, delete now. Yes or not? And you're going to do this insert, update, delete on a table now. On a table. Observe it, all of you. Observe this, guys. This is your data context class. Earlier we saw 4 constructors here. Right now we have a property in the class C. What is the property name? Students. Which type? Table of student. Table of student. Remember, I taught you these concepts in the C Sharp to you. What is it? Customer. C1 is equals to new customer. And here you are providing some attributes. You're providing some attributes now. Same way I created I'm creating 5 instances. Now, how do you combine all these 5? List. Perfect. List of customer. What is the name you give generally? Customers. The naming conventions are very, very important. Yeah. Customers is equals to new list of customer. And here, what do you say? Tell me what is customers? A list of customer instances now. Guys, this is a collection. What is the name of the collection? List. Same like this here. Here we have a collection called as table. See now? List replaced with table. Now see, what is it? Table of student. What is the name? Is equals to new table of student. Can I add some student objects in this? Yes or not? Guys, you don't require to add. All this will come from database now. Are you clearer or not? Say, earlier you done all this manually. I shown this example to you already. 6 instances I created. Tomorrow 100 records are there. Are you ready to create 100 instances? 1,000 records will be there now. Create now. You'll start trying. Yes or not? Okay, no need to create. That's what I'm telling you. No need to create. Who will give you? Database will give you. Directly, what is it? Students. Where students is a table of student records. And this is the property what you have, students. These students will provide you access to the whole table. Now you want to insert, correct? Insert into this table only. You want to update on this table only. You want to delete on this table. You want to select on this table. Everything we do on this only. We are not at all bothered about the student table in the database. That is irrelevant for me. For me, what is the table? Students. Remember, that is why in database programming, in DBMS, we have a rule. What is the rule, you know? Table names should never be pluralized. Did you understand me? Table names should never be pluralized. Reason, I want to store students' data. But even though you say students' data, recollect yourself, I said your table name should be student, not students. I want to store employee data. Everyone will think employees data we are storing now. Why don't you name it as employees? Wrong. Employee. Entity name only should be the table name. Entity name only should be the table name. Okay? If table name is pluralized, what is the problem? I'll tell you. If you write there students, here you will find the students, yes now. Are you clearer or not? Array students, yes. That is how you will find employees. Employees, yes, you will find. Don't pluralize. Students. Students is a collection of student instances to me now. Are you clearer or not? Employee is my table. Employees. Customers. Going forward, this is a whole pattern we'll be working in our database programming. Whatever is your table name, that will be pluralized in your application. You will not have student anymore. What is student for you? You know, student is an entity for you, not a table. What is your table? Students is your table. Did you guys understand me or not? For you, table is not student. What is student for you? Model. What is student for you? Model. Student is my model. My table is not student. My table is students. And I'm going to do all my crap on the students only. Every table you drag and drop, these three actions are repeated. Third one, it defines a property of type table of entity, or otherwise I'll say model. Table of model, which will work as a table to perform several operations. And the name of this property will be, what is that? Model name? Yes. Model name? Yes. So, in our context, in our case, it is students. What is the name? Students. Okay, so going forward, we'll work with the different entities, guys. Your model is student. Your table is students. Your model is customer. Your table is customers. And your model is employee. And your table is employees. So this is what I'm telling you. Don't pluralize here. This is wrong. If you write like this, what do you get now? Features, yes. It will be confusing to remember. That's why in DBMS we follow a rule always. What is the rule? Table names should not be pluralized. No pluralization. Table name should always be the entity name. Nothing but model. You called entity earlier, we call it model. Both are same. Entity name or model. Both are same. Clearer? Every table you drag and drop, these actions are performed. Same way, if you drag and drop a procedure, different set of actions are performed. I don't want to confuse you now. Let us work with the tables. Going forward, we'll understand about procedures. Is that clear, all of you? Okay, so you can just observe it. I have listed everything to you in detail, like what to do and how to do. Yeah. What is the first thing? Link to SQL and Visual Studio. Link to SQL in particular is a means to have a strongly typed interface against the SQL Server database. You'll find this approach that Link to SQL provides is by far the easiest approach for querying SQL Server available now. Right now, this is the easiest way to interact with SQL Server database. It's important to remember that link to SQL is not only about querying data, but you can also perform insert, update, and delete operations that you need to perform, which are known as CRUD operations. We call them as CRUD operations: create, read, update, delete. Visual Studio comes into strong play with link to SQL in that you will find an extensive user interface that allows you to design the link to SQL classes to work with. Easy way to design, just drag and drop, that's all. Adding a to work with link, first you need to convert into of our language, and the process of conversion is known as object relational mapping. And to do and to perform this, we are provided with a tool under Visual Studio that is WARD Designer, stands for which as easy as possible. It is going to do an outstanding job for you to make the things as easy as possible. Now remember, writing all this code, how much time it will take now? If I don't explain all these things to you, not even 5 minutes required for me to do this now. Yes or not? Add a word designer, give a name, over. Configure the server explorer, drag and drop your table, finish, over. That's all. 10 tables, drag and drop the 10 tables. Not even 5 minutes required. I was explaining about step by step each and everything, what is happening. If I don't give an explanation to you, not even 5 minutes required to do it. That's what I'm telling you. It is as easy as possible. Next. Create a table, guys. Student table. Okay, create a database in MVCDB. You know how to create a database, and now create a table. Next. Choose and click on project and create button. You know all these things, nothing to tell you. Now see, models folder, add the or design. And to do this, open in the left hand side of the window, in the SQL classes, name the item as, what is that? But it is always suggested to use our database name as a name to this. Because our database name is MVCDB, we have named it as MVCDB.ddml. Now click add, which will do the following. First one. Yeah, that is adding your reference to system.data.link now. Next. You'll find this item now. Okay. Two sub items. What it is? This is unnecessary for us here. This is unnecessary for us. We don't require this at all. Second one. This one also. We don't write any code, but you need to know what is present inside of it. Okay. And under this file only, all the ORM code by converting. That is the file where what designer will generate the whole code. Tomorrow, 100 tables there, 100 classes will be defined in the same file only. Okay, now? Next. Array added in the document window now as a tab, and this is made up of two parts. The first part on the left is for drag and drop the table now. You can drag and drop a view also. You can drag and drop a view also, etc. Dragging such items on the surface will give us a visual representation of those objects. That's what I said here. You can see a visual representation of that object on screen now. See that. Okay. Next. We will talk about stored procedures in the next example. This example will work with tables. Next example will work with stored procedures. Then I'll explain about that one. Okay, now next. Let's have a look in the file now. Class. Anything from everything I showed you guys. Okay. Data context class works with the connection string and connects to the database for any required operations when we create instance of the class. We did not still do it. We should do it. Data context class also contains methods in it. Like what? You can create a new database. You can delete a database. Get the table now. Get the table. You can execute a query. Submit changes. These are the different methods using which we can perform actions directly on the database. And one more thing. Explained you, there are 4 parameterized constructors in it. Yeah, you saw all the 4 constructors in the code now. Next. Adding the student entity. For this example, we want to work with the student entity from the MVCDB database, which means that we are going to create a student class. Student class that will use link to SQL map. Student table means the student class is mapped to the student table now. To accomplish this task, simply open the Server Explorer from view menu and configure it with our database. Configure with your database. You just configure with your database, guys. And just now I expanded the configuration process. We added one extra thing also there. All of you, I'll update the notes. Meanwhile, when you're adding it, don't forget to select the checkbox. If you don't select, error is coming. And if you don't select, error is coming anyhow. No worries. You select the checkbox. Next. Into the design surface of Word Designer. Into left hand side, and this action will add a bunch of code in on our behalf with a set of classes in it, and those classes will give you a strongly typed access to student table. Will give you a strongly typed access to the student table. Yeah, guys. When we drag and drop the first object, maybe a table or stored procedure on Word Designer, it will perform the following actions. First one, you did not even write this connection string on your own. See the difference. When you worked with ADO.NET, all these actions are done by you manually. Now everything is automated. Okay. Targeting the database we have configured in Server Explorer. Next. And we can use this constructor for creating the instance of MVCDB context class for connecting to the database. And this constructor will read the connection string from MVCDB file. Whereas in the latest version, this default constructor is not defined. Clear? If you are working on old version only, the default constructor will come. In the latest, this default constructor is missing. Existing parameterized class that takes string as a parameter, and for that we need to pass the name of connection string to read it from web.config. Are you clear? Earlier, your old versions, the work is simple. I don't know why they changed it. There's no information from Microsoft that they changed it. Did they change? When default constructor is here, I don't even require to read the connection string from the config file here. Create the instance, that only will read it. But in the latest version, what is the problem? I should read the connection string and pass it as a parameter again here. Okay, when we are writing the code, I'll show you, but we need to read it and pass it as a parameter. Next. Every table will do these actions here. First action defines a class representing the entity table now. Student is what is defined. Second, defines properties under the class where each property represents attribute. And so the student class will find all these properties now. Third step, referring to the table we are working with, and the type of the property will be table of generic type name, generic table of entities, because we are working with student entity. Here the name of the property will be students and the type of the property will be table of student. It will be what? Table of student. Are you guys clearer or not? And see, table of entity is a generic class under and also contains a set of methods like there is a method you can call for deleting the record, method for inserting, method for selecting. These are methods for selecting here. Single or default, first or default. These four methods are for selecting only. I'll show you when we are working. Perform several operations on the entity. It's which type? Table. Entity will be your model class name. Entity will be your model class name. Are you getting me? Well, we have just done all these particular activities now. Next. Guys, till now, you did not write even a single line of code in your application. All the things are auto-generated. Are you clear? One more time, I'll show you. Observe it. Let me close this project. Let's go to the folder, delete it. MVC 11. What is the name? Deleted. Project is deleted. Okay, I'm going to recreate. Watch the process carefully. Run. Create a new project. ASP.NET web application. MVC with link. Our own location, our own folder, also MVC project template. Choosing the MVC project template. Uncheck all the other checkboxes. Create. This is project creation. You know project creation. I don't record to teach you about project creation. What next? What design are adding? Server Explorer configuring, dragging and dropping. That all process 1-2 minutes here. That's it. Open the Solution Explorer. Right click on Models. Add new item. Add new item. Data. Link to SQL classes. Give a name. What is the name? MVC DB. MVC DB. Click add. Added. Next step. Server Explorer. Configure your database. Configure your database. How to do? Right click. Add connection. First time when you open, this is the window that comes to you. First time when you open, this is the window that comes to you. Choose your database. What's your database? Yes, I want Oracle here. I'll select Oracle. Are you getting me? I cannot drag and drop, but I'm telling you, Server Explorer can be configured with any database. But what we want? SQL Server. Click on the OK. Enter the server name. Choose your credentials. I don't know what you're choosing, but your choice, man. This one is optional here. If you select it next time onwards, it won't ask you for the password. Otherwise, every time we try to correct it, it will ask you enter password again. Select up this option and choose your database here. If your data is correct, the database will come here. Wrong password. Login fail. Connected loaded. MVCDB. Click on test button. Confirm everything is fine. And click on OK. Next, expand. Go to tables. Drag and drop the student table. Leave it here. Are you clear? Yeah, this is it will set you see. What is this? Is your connection string name string? There is a name what it will use here also. There is a name what it will use here also. And here is the tables and no procedures right now. Empty. No views right now. No functions, no synonyms, no types, no assembly. Nothing is here. Okay, this one built in, I think. Okay, leave it. But these are all not created now. Student. We drag and drop it that one. Okay, what we need to see? One, is the reference added? Two, is the config file containing the connection string? Yes. Three, do have the code in the data config, sorry, in the designer.cs file. Read this comment. The code is generated by a tool, man. We did not write the code. The code is generated by a tool. And here it writes a class inheriting from right now 4 parameterized constructors present. Okay, now there's no default constructor, 4 parameterized. And because we drag and drop the students table, are you clear? Inside it is calling a method. What is the method? Get the table. Which table? This method will connect to the database and gets you the data and returns it in the form of a table now. It will connect and returns you in the form of a table. Okay. So now student class. Student class. See all the fields, private fields. What are the rules? Fields should always be private. If I want to expose them, properties. Following the same conventions now. You're writing all the private fields in the code now. And see all underscore. We use question mark now. Nullable can be declared like this also. This is another way to declare nullable types. How do you write int question mark? Without writing int question mark, you can write nullable of int. Nullable of int. Where system is your namespace. Nullable of int, nullable of decimal. That's how you're going to write it. Scroll down, and these are all your properties. SID, get set, name, get set, class, get set, fees, get set, photo, get set, status, get set. All 6 properties. What about the other? Don't bother about it. Unnecessary files. We're not going to work with that. What is important? That will we take there. What is important? Class and properties. That's all. Remaining all are useless for me. Don't bother about this and don't try to go through it also. Understood? What next? Everything is ready to work with a database. And now your job is to create all the user interfaces now. Your job is to create all the user interfaces now. What your plan now? Actually, I want to create one view called as list display customers. I want to create a view called as display customers. And the display customers has to show me all the students that are in a table format. ID, name, class, fees, photo, status. It has to show me all this. How many columns? 6 columns. I want the 7th column. What is the 7th column? 7th column is actions column. The 7th column is an actions column. Every record should have 3 links now. Every record should have 3 links. What links? View. When I click on the view, it has to show me the single student details in a detailed format now. And when you show images here, and when I have more records, I cannot show big images. I display only thumbnail image now. A small image, a thumbnail. And you want to see the big size now. What do you use? View button. On the view, it has to launch me a separate view now and show me the image in a big size. How? We done it on the day. Remember, left hand side image, right hand side data. I want it like that. Second, edit. What is it? I want to edit this record, man. If I click on the edit, the view has to launch now and give me an option for editing and updating now. Are you clear? Third one, delete. When I click on the delete, it has to ask me, what? Are you sure of deleting this record? Yes. Delete the record now. Are you clear? Every row requires 3 links. If there are 10 rows, every row need 3 links now. So total 30 links will come now. Understood or not? And every link should have what? 3 options. What is that? View, edit. Apart from that, on the top or bottom of the table, I want an option for add new. Add new, man. We're adding a new row now. Are you getting me? Totally how many? Display all. I shown you yesterday or day for yesterday only. At least display all is list. Display single. Detail. Display single is detail. Add new. Create. Edit only. Delete only. So we need to create all this now. Are you getting my point here? Okay. Then we need a controller. We need a controller with all the action methods. We need a controller with all the action methods. For example, you are defining a controller called as student controller. Student controller. Now here, you need to write methods for all the things now. You need to write your methods now. See, listen, first method, public view result display students. Okay, display all or display students, no matter. Return view. We'll launch a view, no doubt, but the view requires data. The view requires data, yeah. So before you do this, earlier you created all the instances manually. You stored them in a list and passed the list. You done it one day, but today don't do that. Connect it to the database and load the records. What you should do? Connect it to the database and load records. And to do that, I need to write some database coding now. Are you clearer or not? I need to write some database coding. Okay, well, we'll do it. Just a minute. A break. If you guys are clear, understood the difference? What? Display all, display single. Display all, display single. Okay, next. Add student. HTTP get. Return view. Should launch a view for adding a new student now. Understood? Next. HTTP post. Public. Redirect to route result. Add student. For add student, we need to pass the model object now. What is your model? Student is your model. Oh, we forgot to import the namespace. Models. Okay, what's model? Student. Return redirect to action. Did you understand me? First, actually, this view will launch here. I will get a UI now. I will enter the record. Click on insert. When you click on insert, if you go to, this will insert the record in the table. Once the record is inserted now, it has to take you to display students again, start all the records back here. Are you getting? Again, you want to add a record, you click on add view again. Otherwise, display students should come. Okay, now, next. Public result, edit student. For editing a student, what do you require? For editing a student, you require an SID now. A return view. Public, redirect to route result. Guys, did you notice here I given same names, add student. That is why I said you HTTP get, HTTP post. But I did not use same names here. I used different names. One method I called edit, one method I called update. Do I require HTTP get and post now? Not required now. When you need that, names are same you require. Names are different. No need now. What's it? Return. Display students. Again, everything is completed. Again, display students. Finally, one more. Delete student. How do you delete? Yes side. Once delete operation is completed, redirect to action where display students. Array, final destination is display students. Everything will start from there only now. And end there only. Everything will start from there and there. Did you catch my point or not? What is missing? We have defined all the methods. What is missing? Sir, where is the database code? Did you understand me? Sir, where is the database code? You did not write the database coding now. Array, for selecting, I need to write a query now. For selecting, I need to write a query. I just require a query to be written there. For selecting all records, for selecting single record, I need to write queries now. All these are missing. We need to write the complete database coding here. So the big question right now is, are we going to write the database code here now? Are you going to write all the database coding here? Tell me yes or no. No. Why? Controller should not contain database code. Where you should write database code? Model. Database code should always be in the model only, not in the controllers. Controllers should never contain the database code. That's a bad way of coding now. Are you getting me? To resolve this problem, watch it. Go to your models. And inside of the models folder, add a class name student DAL. Do you know the meaning of DAL? Data access layer. This is where you need to write your logic now. Are you getting me? Where is that? Models. Where is that? Models. All database code should be in the models only. That's what I'm following now. Understood? I'm defining a class. What is the name? Models. And here I defined a class called student.del. And here I need to write my methods. Oh, what, sir? A method for selecting data, a method for inserting, a method for updating, a method for deleting. Okay, insert, update, delete, ignore it. Initial I want for selecting now. Are you getting my point or not? Initial I want for selecting. Can I write a method like this? Public list of student. Did you guys understand? Public list of student get students. Are you clearer or not? So what is the written type? List of student. This is for This is the what? Getting all the students now. And when you get multiple students, you get as a list only now. You will get as a list now. Another method. Public student get student. Got it? First method for display students. Second method for display student. For display students, get students method logic, and for display student, second method. Understood or not? What should I do there, sir? You need to write the logic now for getting the data now. From where? From the database. Getting the data from the database. Do you remember link query? Do you remember link querying or not? I already shown you how to write a query on a list for you. Group by clauses, loop, all these particular things. Can I write a query like this, guys? Where from, yes, in. Hey, just a second. Sir, you're writing up the code, you have fine. Where is the connection? A connection required na. For connection, which class instance should be created? Forgot already. Data context. MVCDB data context. DC is equals to new MVCDB data context. And here you're required to pass the connection string. You're required to pass the connection string. And to pass the connection string, you're required to read it from the database first. You need to read from the database. How to read? There is a class called as configuration manager. What is the name? Dot. You're referring to the connection strings now. Which one? What is the name of the connection string? This is the name of the connection string. Come here, use it here. Dot. What do you want to read? Dot connection string. Using system dot configuration. The namespace has to be imported. Okay, configuration manager dot connection strings of, and we are going to read this. And this one I'm assigning to a variable. And now pass it here. Your connection is going to be created now. Okay, honest here. Or without writing this much of lengthy things here, simply, or without declaring two things, copy the whole code here. Paste here. You can do in a single statement. MVCDB data context DC is equals to new. And you are writing up the connection string there. Now, listen. DC dot what is students? You are using a table C now. Table of student. I said you want all your crowd on the table now. Yeah. Select. Yes. Where student is equals to from yes in DC dot students where yes dot yes ID is equals to yes ID select yes. Can I say now? Are you guys clearer or not? Understood all of you? This is a query to get all the records and this is a query to get single record. Are you getting me? But the return type is not table, guys. The query's return type, sorry, the return type is not a list. The query's return type is a table. When you write a query on a table, table only will come back now. So what you require to do, guys, observe it. Put your whole query in the basis, and there is a method called as toList. Return students. Okay, now here, what about this? Here also, what is the return type? Table. It's a return type is table. Shall I convert it into list now? Answer me. Shall I convert into list now? No. Why? Why will you convert into list now? Written by this student. Are you clear? Just guys. Dot to single. The type of the single. See the written type, student. Just a second. See the written type of two list here. List of student. Written type of single is student. Okay. Now, can I say written student? Now go to the UI and call these methods from there. Go to the UI and call this method there. We'll completely write the code, but just trying to first give you an idea how to implement the logic. Never write any database code in the controller. Database code should always be in the DAL class. It's in the model. We write it in the DAL class. So in the DAL class, we are writing in the form of methods, and these methods are now called from controllers. Can you call this in the controller now? How do you call? Tell me. Create the instance of this class now. Come on, go to controller. OBJ. Where students is equals to OBJ dot. What is the method name? Get students. Recollect, compare this code. Earlier, when we worked with customers, you manually created 6 instances, added to the list and passed it. Correct? But tomorrow, say, now where did I do that? I got it from database now. 100 records can be there, 1,000 records can be there, million records can be there. All records will come into students, and that students is what we are going to pass it there. Only thing left out now, you need to add a graphic and display the data in a table format. Right now, if I write the code also no use because I don't have any records in the table. Yes or not? Right now, there are no records in the table. If there are records in the table, it will show you all the appropriate records. We need to perform inserting, update, or inserting first. After inserting only, we can see the output of the list. Understood my point here? Okay, I'll tell you the code much more in detail in the next class. We will not write all the things. One by one, we will debug how the flows, how the views are generated and all the things. But remember, once what you do is ignore this. Focus on the configuration part first. Are you clear? Focus on the configuration part. You have any doubts? You have any doubts on this? In the YouTube link videos, the first video I asked you to watch, the second and third video are this only, but there I shown with Windows programming, and here I'm showing you with MVC. That's all. Are you clearer or not? In the link videos in the YouTube, second, third videos are this only. Understood? But there I shown you Windows. Here I'm showing web. That is designed with old version. All of you go and observe it. Now you will have a default constructor. Yeah, that difference also want to show you. Watch the video. You'll find a default constructor. Why old version has a default constructor and latest doesn't have a default constructor? So before you come to the session on Monday, clearly generate all these particular things, watch the particular videos and try to understand the difference. Monday will focus on views creation and presentation. Okay, let's stop here.